Hello and welcome to this recording of the Bounce 2026 Making an Impact webinar, where you are going to discover all of the things that we're going to be delivering in 2026 and how you can make an impact on your practice. So, hello and good morning to those of you who have arrived since the last time I was here. And welcome to the Making an Impact, what we've got in store for Bounce 2026. And I've just said a moment ago, this is a culmination or where my thinking is at the moment of something I've been working on for the since last September. So 15 months of work. And it is still very much a work in progress, which you will see as we'll go through. If you've done the assessment that came out on the email, I think it was 7 days ago, a week ago, as now, then that's great. You don't need to have done the assessment. But if you have it open as I'm talking through the different levels or the different stages of impact. That will give you a bit of an insight as to where you are. A couple of things with this morning. It's a webinar aimed at Bounce members, current Bounce members, but we've got some guests that have come along as well to find out what it's all about. So please, if you've got any questions, I've got 3 in the bank at the moment, which I'll answer towards the end. There's Barry, Deepak, and Jerry. I'll answer those as we get to the end if we've got time. But if you've got any questions as we go through, please feel free to pop them in the Q&A box. And as I always say, I like silly questions. Silly questions are the ones that everybody's probably thinking that I haven't answered. And generally speaking, they're easy for me to answer. And also, on this occasion, if you've got any observations or comments or anything that I share with you that resonates with you, feel free to pop it in the chat box, and you can have a conversation and see whether there's like-minded people out there and people in the same scenario as where you are. So, without further ado, I am going to press this button and hope the technology works, because it's been a little bit challenging this morning, and you should be able to see the opening slide that I'm working with. So today's agenda, we are going to be looking at how the impact model helps you make progress in the 6 key areas of your practice. So what the mnemonic, what the acronym, whatever it is, I don't know what it is now, what the word impact stands for, and how you can focus on that in order to drive progress within your practice. If you haven't already, you're going to get an opportunity to complete a quick 3-minute assessment to see where you are on the model. Now, there are 2 links for this. So what we're going to do, as you'll hear, is the members of Bounce and Evolution, the 2 mastermind groups that we run, we are going to be monitoring their progress against the assessment in order to know whether we are doing a good job or not. So it's going to become one of the Accountants Mastermind key performance indicators. So there is a link for the Bounce members in order to keep them separate so we can continue to monitor it. And if you're not in Bounce or Evolution and you'd still like to do the assessment, then there is a separate link to that. If you haven't done the assessment or you haven't seen the link and you want to do it, then just post it in the chat box and Mark will fire it across to you. You do it now, do it at the end, do whatever you like. We're going to help you understand the 6 blocks that stop most practitioners in their tracks and how we're going to help you move past them. We're going to get a clear breakdown of what people are going to get in 2026 and the £4,000 worth of new training and support you'll receive. So the bulk of what we've been delivering within Bounce is going to remain the same. It's just going to get better, and we're going to put some more things in for you in order for us to be able to help you better when you've got a challenge. And I'll share a little bit more about how that will work as we go through. There's some AI stuff and whatnot in the background as well. And as I say, ask questions. If you've got any questions or any comments, then please feel free to ask them, and we'll fire them as we go through. So the link that Mark's just popped in the chat box. Oh, that's brilliant. That's gone to Richards. That's fantastic. That's all working. It's like the technology. I'm panicking there with the technology is all working. So and then lastly, well, it won't be lastly today, we're going to talk about your investment in 2026 and what that means to you. So what do we have? When I've sat down, as I say, over the last 15 months, been talking to accountants, both in Evolution and in Bounce and outside of Bounce, there are a number of reoccurring, repeating themes that come up. And probably the top one is that people feel lost and overwhelmed. So they're challenged by what it is that they've got to do. They don't know really what it is that they want to do. There's lots of ideas out there. There's software out there. You can go on 1,000 webinars, CBD courses, etc., etc. And we don't quite know, or the accountants and bookkeepers don't quite know where it is that they should be focusing, and therefore they're lost. And they collect these ideas and they end up with a bigger and a bigger and a bigger to-do list, and then they feel overwhelmed by it. And lots of times that means that they shut down. So if anybody feels like that, please feel free to pop it in the chat box. So the number one pain, the number one challenge that we see accountants and bookkeepers have is they feel overwhelmed and lost. They also feel that they're doing all the work. You know, the stuff where the team members go home at 5 o'clock and you're still there at 10 o'clock. Customer rings up, nobody's answered the telephone call and nobody's replied to the email. So you end up doing it because the team members are not good enough, or you don't believe that they can answer in the way that you would answer. So all of the work, all of the pressure ends up on you, and you end up doing the Saturdays and the Sundays because it's only you that can do it, because the other team members and the other people that work for you don't have the same commitment and the same desire as what you have. So that's another challenge. And then the last one, and again, this gets talked about in Bounce and within Evolution, but tends to get talked about outside because of the embarrassment factor, doesn't get talked about on LinkedIn and stuff like that, is that people are not earning the money that they believe that they should earn, incommensurate to the stress that is being caused by the job that you are currently doing. And the budget is a classic example last week. So there'll be lots of conversations that people will be having about the budget and how it affects their clients and how they feel like they've got to respond to the clients outside of the scope, coming up with what's going to happen in April 2026, even when they've not seen the legislation. And that stress is not turning into money. Now, the ultimate of those three, feeling lost and overwhelmed, doing all of the work, and not earning the money that you're going to earn or should be earning in order to compensate you for the stress, turns into this feeling that you're going to get found out. And when I talk to people, when I've had a glass of wine and I've had a beer or whatever, it's like they feel a bit like they're not really, they shouldn't be doing what they're currently doing. They feel like any moment they're going to get caught out. There might be a PI claim coming along, or a customer's going to ring up and mention something that they've forgotten to talk about. And it's this imposter syndrome that is there in the background, that's this nagging voice. I'm not good enough. I've got to be better. I've got to be better. I've got to be better. So that's the ultimates, that's the pains, and it makes people feel like they're missing out on life, that others are doing better than them. And we get this a lot, especially when people are looking at people on LinkedIn or on Instagram or in Facebook groups, and they think they're doing fantastically, they're doing way better than I. But what they're doing is they're not comparing the whole of them against the whole of you. Yeah, so they might have kids, or you might have kids that are running around, or you might have an elderly parent or whatever, and you have got a different perspective on the way that you're thinking. But this underlying nagging thing that everybody's getting on, everybody's doing more implementation, they're further ahead with AI, they're doing better in the robots, they're doing better with regards to the price increase, they've got teams that are skipping into work in the morning. There's this constant feeling that others are doing better than them. They have this thing that they don't care. The team don't care. They just turn up at 9 o'clock, make a cup of coffee, start work at about 9:15, 9:20, after they've had a conversation about Love Island and all the other stuff that goes along with it. So they feel like their team don't care. They feel like they need to work hard to prove themselves. And goes back to that one a minute ago about feeling like they're going to get found out. If you constantly feel that you're going to get surprised or found out or not have done something that you should have done, then you need to work harder, constantly be on that treadmill, constantly checking emails and WhatsApp messages at night time in order to work out whether you've missed something. So you need to be there on demand. There's lots of accountants within the community and the bookkeepers that are afraid of losing customers, because if they lose a customer, then that's the income gone. And because of that fear, that energy around the scarcity of losing a customer, then they'll bend over backwards, there'll be scope creep, they'll do more work than what they should be doing for them. And if you didn't have that fear of losing customers, then you could price better, you cross-sell, etc., etc. One of the questions Deepak's asked about scaling and doubling over the next 5 years, what's the best piece of advice you would say on this? Well, I'll answer that and how you can get away from and remove some of the fear around losing customers. And I've already talked about this, and they'll get sued for making a mistake. And ultimately, this turns around into this: they're not good enough. You are not good enough as an accountant or bookkeeper, and you have something missing. And that something missing, people sometimes they find it difficult to explain, to articulate what it is. But it's like a confidence, it's a self assurance. If I was being sort of spiritual about it, it's a peace, it's a knowing that is missing. It's the ability to be confident and comfortable in yourself. And that thing that's missing is that constant nagging, which is driving all the other behaviors that you've got. So that's when I've talked to people about how they feel. Certainly, it's how I felt at times when I'm running Greenstones, and the same with the Accountants Mastermind. When I'm not focused on what I'm doing, when I'm not setting the intentions, which is the first part of impact, when I'm not thinking with clarity and I'm getting pulled this way, that way, and all the rest of it, then I feel like there's something I'm missing. If I'm sitting there on a Sunday morning typing up LinkedIn posts or whatever it is, it's like it should be better than this. Life should be better than this. So anyway, that's what you have. That's where we're starting from, or parts of where we are starting from. Now, when we flip that over to what you actually want, it's the opposite. And again, the conversations I have with people, it's not about making lots of money for lots of people or most people. It's about having the freedom to choose what you do. Yeah. So it's the freedom to choose whether you want to go to the school play or play golf, or whether you want to have a Friday off, or go away for the weekend, or go away for weeks on holiday without any emails or WhatsApp messages or team members badgering you as soon as you walk through the door. Yeah. So it's the freedom to choose how and when you work. And we're going to come up with that a lot more when we talk about shift a bit later. Um, People feel like they want a team that's developing, and there's this frustration sometimes when I talk to accountants and bookkeepers where they're saying, um, I want the team to be better, yeah, and I want to help them. I want to help them develop, yeah. There's very few people in the profession when you talk to them don't want their team to get better because they're scared basically. If the team gets better, then they'll go and get a better job or they'll move on or somewhere. The majority of people, because of the way that we've done the training and we've developed, we are lifelong learners. We want our team to develop as well, and ultimately, you want to make the money that you deserve. So whatever that figure is, and that figure will change over time. My figure certainly changed and keeps changing. So making the money that you think you should make, making the money that you deserve in return for the effort that you are currently putting in, and ultimately those three things: the freedom to choose, team that's developing, and making the money that you deserve, means that you would be thriving at work and at home. Yeah, so you'd be thriving at home and at work because you've got the separation between the two. So it can feel like that you can play golf whenever you want to. You can work whenever it is that you want, and you can do the work that you actually enjoy. That's another one when people talk about the fact that they're stuck and they're in a hole because they're ticking banks, or they are reconciling VAT returns, or processing purchase invoices, and it drains their energy. When what they'd really like to be doing is having conversations with customers about how they can move their business on, or talk to them about their sales mix or the key performance indicators, or stuff that actually has value. You want to feel like they can go home on time on the 7th of the month, and it's like the VAT return deadline is the same. It's like, can't we get it done weeks in advance so we can go home on time on the 7th of the month? We was talking yesterday, me, Mark, and Michelle, about the January deadline for tax returns, and then that first week, it's like people say, oh, well, the week after January, it's like, oh, we can calm down. But you can't. For a lot of people, that first week in January is VAT return deadline day, because they haven't done it in January because they've been running around with tax returns. So the conversation for us and for people helping the profession can't really start until the 8th, 9th, and 10th of February in order to help you move forward. And I'll share what we're going to do around that a bit later. You would like to feel like you have a less stressful January. We talked about this within the Tax Return Commitment Club, and you'll see what we're doing with that for 2026. And you're going to have more involvement in the Tax Return Commitment Club, the design of the Tax Return commitment club in February in order to make sure that we hit the road running on the 6th of April 2026, so you can have a more relaxed January in 2027. You'd like to feel that the team is searching for new work and taking ownership of that work. It's like if something comes in, if a challenge comes in or a problem comes in, you'd like your team member to take ownership of that and get on with it in a safe way so you don't have to worry about it. And making more money than you've ever dreamed possible. But ultimately, it's about being content. Yeah. So we was talking earlier, it's about being peaceful, being knowing, being I'm not going to use the word relaxed because I certainly don't want to be relaxed around business. I want it to be going forward and moving forward, but I want it to be done in a peaceful, knowing, accepting way. So that's where the world would like to be. Now, there must be if you've not got what you want, there must be some obstacles that are getting in your way. And I've sat down and I've been talking again. I've been talking to people. And there's all sorts of conversations that come up, and I've got to 6 obstacles. Now there will be more obstacles, and depending on your personal circumstances and your situations, you might have slightly different obstacles to this. But these 6, generally speaking, for the accountants and bookkeepers that we work with in Bounce and Evolution, and the conversations I'm having on LinkedIn. Are the fundamental ones, are the top ones, and this is the one. So getting distracted by new ideas. And people go out, they watch webinars, they do this sort of thing, or they go to Accountex or the DAS, or they read somebody's posted something on LinkedIn. It's like, oh, that's a great idea. I'm going to go out, I'm going to put that into my practice. And that's where this lost and overwhelm comes through. There's no sanity check, no vanity check even, as to whether that's a good idea or not, given what your intentions are. And that getting distracted, we do it all the time. You'll have seen the question that we post within the Facebook group and the WhatsApp group. When somebody comes up with something, it's like, what problem is this a solution to? Yeah. What problem is this idea, the implementation of this idea, what problem is that a solution to? And lots of times when we ask that question, the individual that's posted, this is what we're going to do, or this is what we're thinking they're going to do, haven't got a problem that they're trying to solve. They just think they think it's a good idea. So if we can get you out of that obstacle, remove that obstacle of getting distracted by new ideas, and we can give you tools and techniques in order to still collect the ideas, just not try and implement them at the start, put them to one side, carry on with your intentions for that week or that quarter, preferably, and then revisit the ideas that you've got for the second quarter or the third quarter or the fourth quarter, and then develop a plan off it. You can feel like you're still making progress. You might be not going as fast as you want. I'm never going as fast as what I want. You might not be going as fast as you want, but you can see the progress. You can celebrate the progress, and ultimately you can have more clarity about where it is that you're going. Another one is self-sacrificing for the benefit of other people. And what we do, it's not every accountant, bookkeeper within the profession, but what we do is a client rings up and it might be 4:45. It's urgent for them. They might want a mortgage reference for argument's sake, and they've left it until 4:45 on Thursday night and they need it for the Friday. And then you end up dropping everything else, forgetting about the tea for the kids or going to golf or going for a walk or a jog or going to the gym or whatever it is, and you sacrifice that time in order to benefit the person that wasn't organized. And again, there's some tools and some tips. There's work in progress. I'm still a work in progress around that. But there's some tools and some tips that you can use in order to become more confident and change your mindset around how you protect your personal boundaries and protect your time. Another obstacle is that accountants and bookkeepers don't have the systems and processes in place in order to enable their team to succeed. And then again, this comes up constantly. It's like, even if they do have the systems and processes in place, they don't have the cue to start the process or the reward to make sure the process repeats itself over and over and over again. And if you haven't systemized as much as you can, you can never do it 100%, and it's a constant work in progress. If you haven't systemized the way the practice works. And you've got team members all making it up as they go along or doing what they think is the best way. But there can only be one best way. So each process, each outcome that's being driven by the process, there can only be one best way to achieve that. Yeah. So if you've got 6 people within your organization, they should all be doing it the same way, unless one of them comes up with a better way of doing that process. And if they do, there should be a system in place in order to make sure that everybody else within the organisation is doing it. So another obstacle that people have got is that not got enough systems and processes in place in order to help the team be engaged and deliver autonomously the outcomes that they want. Excuse me. A little bit of a cough. I'm just going to have a cup of tea. So that's that one. Believing in their team are rubbish, or believing their team is rubbish and not as good as them. Again, this comes up all the time. It's like, you'll have heard it 1,001 times. It's like your team are never going to be as good as you. If they were going to be as good as you, then they'd be doing the job that you're doing. So the team are never going to be as good as you, and you need to accept that. Okay. Now, within that acceptance, you then need to develop skills matrix, processes, training, key performance indicators, etc., 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 in order to build a structure around it so they have clarity over what you want them to do, how they're going to do it, that they are good enough to do it, i.e., the training, and they get recognized, so rewarded for doing what it is that you've asked them to do. So they get recognition. Now, once you've got all of those in places, again, there's no finite. Once you've got those in place, you can then build on them and work on them. And accept that the team are never going to be as good as you. However, they will be good enough in order to do what it is that you want them to do. And I look at Greenstones. When I first bought Greenstones, we've got 3 team members. There's 22 there or whatever it is now. And that acceptance and that letting go of that control was a big thing for me back then. So that's one of the obstacles that we need to get rid of. Another one that we do is taking on any old customer and working with them how the customer wants, and you end up with all these different things. You end up with customers that are being rude to you, customers that don't want to pay you, and it's like there's this attitude, not with everybody within the profession, but there's this like attitude where people go, oh, there's a new customer coming along, hallelujah, there's less fear about not making enough money now, and I will take that customer on and I'll work how that customer wants, and then you end up self-sacrificing. So we need to get clarity over the customer base, who it is that you're going to work for. You don't need to niche, but you need to have some clarity about what it is that you're best at and what the team is best at, and then stick to that profile and the way that we can work through that. And then the last one is wasting time chasing new clients rather than picking the low-hanging fruit. And again, you'll have heard me rant about this 1,001 times. This desire to do the sexy stuff, post on LinkedIn, TikTok videos, Instagram posts, Facebook advertising, blah, 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 blah. And we spend, I know I get sucked into it as well, but we spend this time creating lead magnets and processes and systems because it's really sexy. And we've got all these internet marketeers out there telling us that that's what it should be doing. When the reality is there is easier places to make more money, out of the customer base that you've got, the ones that already know, like, and trust you, and therefore they're willing to buy more stuff from you, or you have referral systems in place, or you go to customers that have left. All of these different things are all low-hanging fruits that people 9 times out of 10 don't utilize before they go out and start building a new website that has got video in, or launching a podcast is another one that everybody seems really excited about. So all of these different things, when they don't have focus on what it is that they've got in front of them, they've got this untapped potential that's already there, and I'll talk to you about and show you how that's going to work as part of Impact in a moment. So I've got a question. Matthew's asked, how do you put those systems and processes in place when you're already overwhelmed with the other things you haven't done? So great question, Matthew. The reason that the only way that you can do more than you are currently doing is if you throw money at it or throw time at it. They're generally speaking the two resources, yeah? You might not be clever enough, you might not be bright enough to do it, but if you throw time and money at that, then you can learn the training. So ultimately, it comes back to time and money. Now, you need to decide which one of those you're going to spend in order to put those systems in place, in order to go through the loser trap, which again, we've talked about, there's the videos about it on YouTube. It has to get slightly worse in order for it to start getting better. Yeah. So it's just a simple case of sitting down and intentionally allocating resources to what it is that you want to do. Now, from my perspective, I wouldn't start with the systems and processes. I would start with a stop doing list. So I'd sit down and write down all the different things that I needed to do or I need to stop doing in order to free my time up. Now, when you write a stop doing list, you'll be amazed. You'll have heard me talk about it 1,000 times before. You write the stop doing list, you'll be amazed at how many things on there don't actually need doing so they can get rid of, and how many simple things, admin tasks, changing light bulbs, buying toilet rolls, making sure there's coffee in the cupboard, that sort of stuff. You'd be surprised at how much admin rubbish posting on LinkedIn, how much admin rubbish is on there that you can delegate to somebody else. For me, it's always admin first. So get rid of the admin. It's less skilled, tends to be cheaper. And once you've got rid of the admin, then you can get rid of the technical, then the marketing, and then the sales, and put systems in place. But ultimately, the answer to that question is that you need to decide which one of the two resources, time or money, you are going to allocate to creating those systems, and then build it into your intentions. Just going off as a slight tangent now, I had a great conversations with a one-to-one client that I worked with last week that were setting their goals, their ambitions, their intentions for the first quarter of next year. So for quarter one. And when we went through and allocated or worked out how much time they're actually going to have in that first quarter and how much time they feel, because it's only a guess, but a guess is better than no guess, how much time they feel they need to allocate in that first quarter to deliver the projects that they wanted to deliver, they were way over. They needed twice as much time in that first quarter in order to do the work that they already needed to do and deliver the projects. It's like, it's nuts. So they're already setting themselves up for failure before they start. So we pared it back, worked out which one was the most important project to do in the first quarter, and that is the problem. Well, there's two projects as it turns out, but they're the two projects that they are going to deliver rather than the 7 that they thought they was going to deliver. But anyway, I hope that answers that question. Thank you, Matthew, for it. So, how are we going to help you get over those obstacles? So for each one of those obstacles, we've got some systems, some tools and resources in place in order to share with you, in order for you to implement them. So we take some shortcuts in order to be able to implement them, in order to free up your time. And away you go. So impact, as you will have seen if you've done the assessment, stands for intention. Yeah, working out where it is that you want to go. If you don't know where it is that you're going to go, then everywhere leads to home. So you need to sit down. So you sit down, you can do it in a shower, you can do it wherever you do it jogging or wherever you like, but you need to metaphorically sit down and work out what it is that you want to achieve. Now, I've always been shit. People talk about 10-year goals and all that sort of malarkey, or 3-year goals, or 3-year plans. That is just like, it's a million miles away. 3 years is a million miles away for me. The most I can do is 12 months. So I can sit there and I can think about what I want to deliver in 2026. But again, my brain is like, seems like October next year, seems like a million miles away. It's like, I'm going to do all this or not do it. It's like things. So generally speaking, quarterly and monthly. So this is what we're going to achieve in the first quarter of next year. This is what we're going to achieve each month in that quarter. And then if you can break it down into what we're going to do each week and even each day, if you can get that anal, then you'll have clarity over what it is that you're going to do. Yeah. And then once you've set that intention, any new shiny ideas that come along, it's like, well, will it make will it help us get that intention quicker? No. Okay, well, let's park it and it might be a quarter 2 thing. So that's intention. The next one is mindset. So if you're not currently getting something that you want, it'll be because of your thinking. Yeah. So your current thinking has created the problem that you've currently got. In order to create a solution or find a solution to solve that problem, you need to change your thinking in some way. And we'll talk about within evolution and within bounce, we'll have confirmation, information, and transformation. So people's mindsets, generally speaking, when they come to us, you'll be in one of those three places. You'll have confirmation. So people will be coming to get confirmation that what they're doing is okay. So there'll be a very fixed mindset. They'll be very closed down, very in their ego normally. And it'll be like, well, okay, yeah. And they'll take, so Simon will say, or Mark will share 10 things. They'll go, well, we're doing 7 of those, and they'll forget about the other 3. So they're people who are in confirmation, and they're not people for the Accountants Mastermind. You then have people looking for information. And this is generally speaking where the bulk of our members sit. They're coming along, they're looking for ideas, solutions to their problems. Now, I will accept that over the last 2.5 years of Bounce and the last 10 years of evolution, the idea generation side of it from an Accountants Mastermind point of view has been front and center. And we have done a misservice around getting clarity over what it is, that intention. Yep. Around what it is. So it's what we're going to need to focus on. Then once you've got that, you can then analyze the thinking, work around the problems, and deliver you information in order for you to solve those problems, which will then remove those obstacles and give you the goal and outcome that you want. And then the last one within mindset is transformation. So we have some people come that are really, really in the doodah, and they need to transform their thinking. They need to transform their processes, and in that transformation, get the outcomes that they want. And from my perspective, I find them quite exciting because there's lots of different things that we can do. And all of a sudden the changes becomes more instant and away they go. So mindset is around confirmation, information, or transformation. And we've got some tools to share around that. Next up is productivity. So going back to your question, Matthew, about how do you find the time to do stuff? Well, productivity, the more productivity, the more productive you can be, will help you save the time and the money. And there's all sorts of different things. I'm mad passionate about productivity, and it's about being effective. It's about doing what's effective rather than what's doing or being efficient, which is where we get sucked into. And I do it all the time. It's like, oh, I could do that. It'll only take me 5 minutes. But the fact that I'm doing it means that I'm not doing something else. The A stands for all together. So this is all about getting your team together. It's about getting your team engaged, making sure that they are working in a way that you want them to work, making sure that they are answering customers' queries, they're delivering the service that you want them to deliver. It's about making sure that you're getting stuff off your plate, so you've got to stop doing lists. It's about making sure that they're being skilled up and they're being trained and they're doing the CPD. So the more you can develop your team, the more that you feel all in it together, the more engaged they are, the more effective that they'll be, the more productive that they'll be, and therefore the more choice you will have about whether you do things or not. The C stands for customers. And as I've already talked about earlier, the big danger for the most accountants and bookkeepers is they'll take on all comers. Somebody rings them up and says, hello, I need an accountant. They say, brilliant, I'm an accountant. You come and work with me. You quote them 200 quid. They say, oh, that's a bit expensive. And you say, oh, I'll do it for 150 quid then. So you're already on a loss before you start. So there's some systems and tools and resources and processes that you need in place in order to, we're never going to stop you doing that, but in order to make sure that you've got clarity over the customers that you're going to work with, and you're working with them in a way that is both fair to you and to them. And then the last one is the turnover. And that's making sure that you have taken those low-hanging fruit, that you are maximizing the return on the leads that you're generating, that you're converting as many as you can, that you've fixed all the leaky buckets. There's a thing where we go onto a website and put details into a contact us form, and then we're never contacted. It's like, it's nuts. If you've spent money generating the lead and then not contacting the lead when it comes through, and then cross sells and upsells and woo charts, etc., etc. So within those 6 categories, we've got 30 tools, and I'll share a bit more about those at the end if we've got time. But I'm not going to go into each of those tools. But from the beginning of next year, and there's some already coming through, but from the beginning of next year, we'll be talking about those 6 sections. We'll do one a month normally, and we'll be delivering one of the tools in order for you to take away and deliver it. So in January, we're going to be talking about intentions. And as a part of that, I'm going to share with you my spreadsheet for my intentions for 2026 and how I monitor that and measure that and get dopamine off the way I'm monitoring it. So each time I do a task, do a job, there's a dopamine release when I put something on the spreadsheet in order to get the numbers. But anyway, that's more of that in January. And then the rest of the year, we're going to focus on, if you're in Bounce or Evolution, we're going to focus on your assessment. Yeah. So if you complete the assessment, or when you complete the assessment, we'll get numbers for all of the members, and we'll get a breakdown as to where you're weak and where you're not weak, where as a community you're weak. And if it's the turnover one, then we'll do turnover. We'll have a conversation, an impact meeting about turnover. If it's productivity, we'll do a productivity session. We'll do a productivity power hour. If it's around team, then we can do the impact meeting around that, or do the power hour around that, or we can focus on it as part of the connect meeting. So my assessment, our assessment, once you give us the information, we'll be able to focus much more clearly on solving the problems that you've got rather than coming up with new ideas. And that's the big thing for me. It's like, how can I? And I'm not. It's not because people go, "Oh, I don't know what it is that I want, Simon." Okay, just give me something to work with, and then once you've got that something, then we can start making sure that you're working towards that intention, and not we're not distracting you as much as we can. But anyway, before we get to those 30 tools, from the 1st of March, the monthly investment changes to 272 quid. So Bounce started in May 2023, if that's right. Yeah, May 2023. And the price has been 245 quid since it was launched at Caretex in May 2023. So it's 2.5 years ago. And I lay awake in bed at night thinking, you know what? We're talking to accountants and bookkeepers about increasing their prices every year. And what have we done? We've not done it. So from the 1st of March, 2026, or the next payment after the 31st of March, the investment's going to go up to 272 quid plus the VAT. And you're going to get, basically, you're going to get all of this as a consequence of that. So the Tax Return Commitment Club stays. And we'll be having a conversation with you in February around what you've achieved this year, what we've delivered this year, and how we can improve it for next year. Yeah. So what it is that you want us to do. Yeah. So it's going to be your thing. Power hours are going to be there. They're going to stay. Yeah. So that's your ability to come along, get some content, share what your intentions are, share what your challenges are, and then work on those problems with the support of other people. So they will stay there. Yeah. The WhatsApp groups will still be there, and you'll have the ability to go in and share and ask for ideas and support. You'll still get the systems from Greenstones and any of the members. Now, one of the things that we've done this year, in the last 2.5 years, is I've come up with a system that I think you need or could need. I've created a system, stuck it in Coach Accountable, and you've gone away and got it or not got it. And lots of you I know within Coach Accountable, you've got watch Simon's video on this, watch Simon's video on this, implement this system, etc., etc. Now, one of the things about that, you see, is it's one of the things around that is that it's me telling you what I think you should be implementing rather than you looking at your intentions, working out what it is that you want to do, and then asking me for support, or asking me, Mark and Michelle, for support in order to deliver that. So we're not going to just do it systematically every other month. We're going to encourage you to ask me what it is that I've got that might help you get your intentions. So just going to have a drink. Brilliant, thank you. So that's the systems. Yeah. Now, Coach Accountable. We've been playing with this in the background for about 6 months now. When you put your actions into Coach Accountable, we see them, obviously. They come through. We can hold you accountable for that. So, Jerry, one of your questions was, what makes Bounce different from other accountancy groups? Fundamentally, Jerry, it is this. Yeah. So, the fact that we record your actions, they go into a piece of software, central piece of software that we can see, and then we can nag you, hold you accountable. It's part of our engagement process in order to help you deliver that. Now, with the advent of AI, we can take those actions out of Coach Accountable. And we've been working on this quite a lot over the last 3 months with Evolution, and look at whether there's any similarities in there. So there might be 2 or 3 members that want to create a Making Tax Digital guide, for example. So we can put you together so you can work in collaboration with each other in order to deliver the Making Tax Digital guide. Or we might have lots of people that say in there that they need to set their goals and they've not ticked that off, so we can do a session, a power hour, or a impact meeting, excuse me, about about that specific thing. So we can deliver whatever it is that you said you want to do. We can deliver content based on what you've put your coaching accountable. Um, Next up is the surgeries are going. So the socks up surgeries, as much as I love doing them and coming along, I feel that I can deliver more value instantly. So if there's a question or something that goes in the WhatsApp group, or you have a question, then we can deliver an answer to that much more quickly rather than having to wait for the monthly surgery come round. And what we're going to do is we're going to swap the surgery with impact meetings. So each month there'll be a conversation based around what it is that you've put on your assessment in order to help you move forward on the 30 things that you need to do in order to run the practice that you want to practice. So those impact meetings are going to be a deep dive into one section of impact. So we might look at values, for example, 1 month, and how you can create values and use those values in order to help your team make decisions when you're not in the office. We might look at referral systems, for example, and the one thing that you need to do, or there's three that I would recommend that you do in order to make sure that you implement those into your practice. So the impact meetings, the surgeries, still be there to answer your questions. If you've got any queries, I'll gladly answer them. But the impact meetings replace the surgeries, and there will be a deep dive into one of the sections of those sections of impact. So that's the impact meetings. The connect meetings will still be there, although they're going to change. But you will still meet for dinner. So the first one is in February. You'll still meet for dinner the night before. So you'll be able to do the quiz and have the conversation, have the chat in the bar. There'll still be the same group of people in the room. So we're going to restrict it. So non-bounce members, it's going to become basically more difficult for non-bounce members to come. So you'll have the bounce community and the evolution meeting within the connect meetings. And instead of trying to sell tickets to the Connect events, we'll be freer to develop more value to the Bounce members and the Evolution members. But we will still have invitations, the ability to invite non-Bounce members into the room if we believe that they can add some value into that. So you'll still have the Bounce community in the room. You'll still get to network at break times, which I know lots of you say is a fantastic part of the Connect meetings. It will still be at Kettering Park Hotel. You'll still get the videos of the day. And there'll still be great content from me, if I do say so myself. However, that content will no longer be about one specific topic. Okay, so it'll be more diverse, and clearly it's going to be involved around impact. So the structure of the day, and you'll get this after next week's shift meeting, but the structure of the day will give you a chance to share what's working well with each other. So you can have confidence, you can build confidence in something that you want to do. You can share, you can celebrate, yeah, and learn new ideas. There's a chance to share best practice with each other. Excuse me. So tools and tips and things that you've implemented, books that you've read, websites that you've seen, etc., etc. You'll get content from me on a specific area of impact, and as I've said previously, you'll decide what that is. Yeah, there'll be a little process that we'll go through in order to make sure that you do that. There will be a quarterly AI update on what's currently working within the industry from me. There's a member in Evolution at the moment that's doing some fantastic stuff with robots. And it's like, how do I share that? When do I get a chance to share that with the Bounce community? And it's like, I haven't at the moment. So it becomes a systematic process. Every quarter, I go through and think, right, what have we done this week? What's working for everybody else this month, etc., etc. And we'll share that on a quarterly basis. There'll be a chance to interview a member who's doing brilliant work on a specific area of a practice. So I don't know if they've gone through and have increased their prices, or they've done a team day, or they've done something that's helped develop their practice. There'll be an opportunity to hear from them about what it is that they've done rather than hear from me about what they've done. A chance to have members fix a major problem for you have. So there'll be like mini hot seats in order for you to solve those problems, and a chance to actually do some work to make progress while you're in there, whilst me, Mark, and Michelle are there to support you. So we're not going to leave at 4 o'clock and you go away and go, oh dear, I'm not going to get around to it or whatever. There will be time in the day set aside for you to actually start, because I know that if you start doing something, then in that start, you're committed. And if you get stuck in that first sort of, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 minutes, then we'll be there in order to say, right, this is what I would do if I was you. And away you go. Um, and then in addition to that, and this is the big thing, and this was the question around how to recruit. So Barry's asked, how do I recruit an experienced qualified accountant? I'm going to show you the top tool that we have in order for you to work that. So you're going to get access to every Connect meeting that we've recorded in the last 3 years. You are going to get access to that included within your Bounce membership. Now, if you bought all of those courses individually, that'd add up to 4,425 quid. That excludes the 5Ps to perfect profits, which will still stay in there, which is one of the things. Yeah, when you join Bounce, we want you to make enough money so Bounce becomes free, and we want you to create enough time in order to do more fee paying work. So you'll get both of those courses, 5Ps to perfect prices, plus you'll get Unlock Your Clock. You'll get Maximize Your Minutes. How to be more productive, how to be more effective. So this is the whole course, the whole 4 hours of content. Yeah. And what I'll say is the reason why we're doing it, or the number one reason why we're doing it, is because if you ask a question and say, Simon, I've got a system in place that's not currently being followed. How can I change that? Then I can share the 20 minutes of the course in not unlock your clock. I'm going to get to it in a minute. Runs like clockwork. The Runs Like Clockwork course. I can share that 20 minutes. You can go away and watch it, and then you can go away and implement it. So you get Advantage AI, you'll get GRF Mastery, which is all about the 5 levers to increase your turnover and the fact that anything that you take on is worth the capital value plus the profit. You'll get Engaged, which is all about having engaged team members and the Q12 process and how you can survey them in order to work out where you are the weakest. You'll get Know Your Numbers, so key performance indicators, how to work on your KPIs, and then how you can have those conversations with your team. There's going to be a fantastic conversation at Shift. A chap called Andrew Price is coming along, who's going to be talking about how to deliver it, how he delivers advisory services, and how high his average fee is as a consequence of that, and how he works around knowing his numbers and those numbers. You'll get Level Up, which was where Rob Walsh came along and talked about how he has basically an advisory only practice now. He's sold off the compliance, and how he works that and how the sales process works. Now you don't need any software in order to be able to deliver it. You'll get Mind Your Language, Simon, which is all about NLP and my journey through learning about language and dyslexia and all that sort of stuff, and how the language you talk to yourself is all mindset stuff. You'll get Breakthrough Your Glass Ceiling, which is all around limiting beliefs and your belief systems that you've got. Again, is mindset stuff. Banish the Bottleneck, the Implementer, which is basically going through the book and me sharing more deeper insights around how to implement and remove yourself as the bottleneck within the practice. Power Your Profits, which is all about increasing your profits. So it's not only GRF, it looks at expenses and blah blah blah. This course, this is the one that I was talking about, Barry, how to recruit an experienced qualified accountant. Within finding people in a haystack, there's a 15-stage process. There's a roadmap that I can share with you, but a 15-stage process in order to make sure that you get the right person into the organization. They're inducted as best as you can, and they're a success at the end of the probation. So that I did that course probably 2 years ago now, and recruitment certainly hasn't got any. It talks about writing adverts and attracting people and fact finds and all that sort of stuff. Runs Like Clockwork is what we talked about a minute ago, which is all about how to systemize the practice, find the time and systemize your practice, and the best way to do it. So in total, you're going to get Tax Return Commitment Club, as you have Power Hours, WhatsApp group, Systems for Greenstones, Coach Accountable and the accountability within that, the impact meetings, which were changing from the surgery, the Connect meetings, which are better content in my point of view, and the whole video course. So what are these 30 tools? And then I am finished. So I've just got a couple more questions. So if anybody else wants to ask any questions, then please do. Voice is on the verge of going out. So the 30 tools that we're going to be sharing with you as a result of next year is all around these ones. I'm not going to go through all of them, but if you think about your intentions, yeah. Look at your personal goals. So, do you have clear personal goals over the next 3 months, 12 months, 3 years, 10 years, wherever it is that you feel comfortable going? Because if you don't know what your personal goals are, then you're not going to be able to deliver on your business goals. You need your business goals to deliver your personal goals. In order to get to your business goals, you need a vision and a purpose. And we're going to help you come up with that vision and purpose, however rough and ready that you think it is. The way you deliver on that vision and purpose is to focus on your key performance indicators. We've got the famous five, of course, as you will have seen, but there are thousands of KPIs that I can help you come up with and monitor them and start reporting them. And then ultimately your personal balance sheet and your budget, your upside down budget. So it's like, where do I want to be? How much money do I want to earn? These are the expenses. What turnover, what profit do I need? These are the overheads. What turnover do I need? And it gives us clarity over where it is that we're going. And then you've got obviously mindset and all together within team fire, hire and induct, sorry, find, hire and induct, engage, and then the re-engage or HEF process if you've got a team member that's not performing. Under customers, we're going to put systems and processes around ideal customers, acceptable customers, customer grading to make sure that your team has the ability to make a decision when you're not there over how well a customer is looked at. An onboarding process. I mean, people talk about onboarding like it's some mystical thing. It's not that difficult. Yeah, it's just a systemized process that any administration function should be able to, well, should be able to carry out. There's no two ways about it. Service delivery around basis of relationship. And then exit, how to identify and deliver the exiting of customers, which is something we very often don't focus on. So that's everything that we're going to be delivering as a part of Bounce 2026. If you've got any comments or observations, please feel free to WhatsApp them to me, post them in the webinar chat or wherever it is that you want to go. And then I will answer any questions that anybody's got. There's one question on here that I've not answered. That's from Deepak. Deepak's asked, scaling and doubling over the next 5 years, what's the best piece of advice would you say on this? So how do I scale or double the practice over the next 5 years? Now, when I read that, it's like, blimey, double the practice in the next 5 years. That sounds like a lot. And then when I thought about the maths, I thought it's not really a lot. It's not really a lot. So basically, compounded up, that's 15% growth year on year. Yeah. Now, I know greenstones, and we're not, in my opinion, we're not very good at this at the moment. We're almost doing that. Yeah. There are practices out there that are doing 15, 20% without too much more effort. And then there are practices out there that are focusing on it. They've got BDMs, business development managers and whatnot, that are doing 40, 50% growth. And that's without any acquisition. So my first thing is whether that target's enough for you, whether you need to be more challenged by it. But it's literally 15% compounded up. If I was going to give you the best piece of advice, I couldn't come up with one because it depends on your personal circumstances. But the number one that I've come up with is make sure your prices go up every year and that you're charging the right amount of money for the service that you are delivering. The second one is to make sure that you're upselling and cross-selling to your existing customers in a systematic, systemized way. Yeah, because they already know, like, and trust you, and they're the easiest place for you to get to. And then the last one is to nail your referral systems. So before you go out and start posting on LinkedIn and doing Facebook adverts and all the rest of it, is make sure that you're doing a good job. You've got to do a good job as part of a referral system, but you're doing a good job and then systematically asking for referrals as the people go through. They're the three questions that I've asked. Finding people in a haystack course for Barry. Deepak, is that big enough thing? And then the accountability is the number one thing for me. Jerry, got no more. Got several surveys come through, which is great. We'll have a chance to have a look at those. And then if I do that, I've got one more question that's come through. Sorry, I was on a call, so I missed it. Are the Impact and Connect meetings in person or online? Brilliant question, Mark. Thank you. The Connect meetings are online in Kettering Park Hotel. So they will be quarterly. It'll be a 10 o'clock start in the morning. We'll finish at 4 o'clock. You can stay for a drink afterwards, meet the night before, do whatever you want. Starting at 10 o'clock in the morning in order to give people the ability to get there in the day if they want to, or if they're staying there overnight, then they could do some work or go to the gym or wherever it is. So the Connect meetings are still in person. The Impact meetings will be online. So there'll be, well, anywhere from 45 minutes. There's a couple that will be quite a bit longer than that, probably be 2.5 hours. But the idea of that is that you'll be doing some work as we go through. Same with all the impact meetings. The object or the opportunity for you to block out that time in your diary and then actually start delivering on it far outweighs the ability to come up and just say that you're going to do it. So the impact meetings will be online, the connect meetings will be in person, and the connect meetings will have a part of the impact and the tools and resources through the mnemonic. There will be a recording available on this. It will come out as and when it will go through a system that the system that Mark and Michelle follow, and away it goes. So over there we've got making sure you're charging for everything you're currently doing. Yeah, number one, the recordings will be available sent out in the next 7 days. That'd be brilliant. So connect in person quarterly and impact monthly on Zoom. That's right, Mark. Yeah, so connect in person quarterly. There's nothing in July and August, and nothing in December and January. So the quarterlies will be February, April, end of June, October time, somewhere in and around there. But we can let you have the dates, Mark, if you would like them. There's an online diary that we've now got set up with all of the things on, which will be coming out on an email and social media posts and whatnot in the not too distant future. So that's me. And I feel quite excited. I do feel very excited about it. And I've managed to be that excited about it with a sore throat and flu. So there you go. Just imagine what it would be like if I'm well. I've got no more questions over there or any more questions over there. So I am going to say thank you very much for coming along today. Thank you to everybody that's asked questions. If there's any comments or observations or anything that you're unsure of, then please pop them in the WhatsApp group if you're in Bounce, or send me an email or DM on LinkedIn or whatever it is, and I will gladly answer them. That's all for now. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you for watching this webinar all about what we're going to be delivering in Bounce in 2026 and how it can make an impact on your practice. If you've got value from the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel so you get notified the next time we put a video up. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to post them below and I will gladly answer them as soon as I can. On the screen now, you should see the next 2 videos that we recommend you watch in order to make an impact on your practice.